to episode 23 of the Wizards of Pod podcast, a podcast of librarians talking about podcasts. My name is Colleen, and with me are my co-hosts, Sarah and Dave. So join us as we discuss new and noteworthy podcasts, along with information about libraries in general.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you guys doing?
I was doing well until they said it was going to be 80 degrees on Saturday.
It's supposed to be 80 degrees on Saturday?
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? And I was hearing on the news this morning that they're going to get a blizzard out in the Northwest in Washington.
No, the 76 is the high temp for Saturday.
Oh my
And
God.
I'd finally settled into my crispy autumnal self.
Yeah. I turned the heat on at my house.
I turned the heat on. I got rid of the AC.
Yeah, we took the ACs out, closed the windows, and now 76.
Oh, man.
So I'm doing
Monsters.
poorly.
This world is topsy-turvy.
It's going to hell in a handbasket.
The weather is.
Yeah.
Watch, and then in like 2 weeks it'll be like a snowstorm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jeez.
So, this is the last podcast before the holidays.
Oh,
The
yeah.
cold holidays, which are going to be in the 70s, it sounds like.
Very chilly.
Yeah.
So we take a December, January hiatus.
Yes.
So we won't record again until January.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Because this is
Wait.
our November episode. And we'll record in January for February.
We don't record for November, for December.
And we don't record
Or
in December
for January. And we'll record in January.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Why do I don't understand.
It's so, yeah.
It's so hard.
Yes.
I get it.
Is that a nice
glad.
noise?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
it's fine.
very good.
Oh, I just noticed your cup and your
Pretty.
Stanley almost match exactly. That's perfect.
Oh, yeah. That's
And
good.
my lanyard.
Well,
This
yeah,
is my
I noticed
unofficial
the
color.
lanyard, but I'm vibing with it.
What
I
color
like it.
is that?
Anything in the family of like a
Seafoamy.
sagey green,
Sage.
seafoam blue.
Sagey.
Okay.
I like it.
It's like if sage and seafoam combined, I think.
Okay.
And that's my personal
They had a
palette.
baby.
My unofficial palette.
Nice.
Beautiful.
So this month we decided that the theme will be the most streamed podcasts of 2023. So to compile our list, Colleen cross-referenced the following 3 articles: Edison Research, Forbes, and Pew Research. We'll have the links to those in the show notes if you want to review them. But going through those 3 articles, the five podcasts we decided to rank this month is the Joe Rogan Experience, Crime Junkie, The Daily, This American Life, and Morbid, a true crime podcast. And did we review any of these? Because a couple of them sounded familiar. Morbid, we did.
Wow, Crime Junkie and Morbid. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
thought
know.
so.
I definitely know that we didn't do the Joe Rogan Experience
Right.
or This American Life. I'm not sure about the Daily though.
Oh, really? I was kind of thinking we did This American Life, or we at least spoke about it.
I don't
It sounded
remember.
familiar, but it's probably just me
It's a
being...
very popular podcast, so maybe it was just one of
Maybe
those things
something
where it's
that you've
in your
heard in
brain.
the past.
Maybe. Well, talking about This American Life seems to have wiped their, just to give everyone a heads up, it seems like that podcast has wiped their backlog from all platforms and now has only 10 episodes available unless you go to their website for their entire catalog. This is a trend that seems like more and more podcasts are starting to do.
I had never seen that, and I was so confused because I knew they had been on for a very long time, and I was like, why am I only finding 10 episodes? Because I checked, like, podcast, Apple, like, all the things, and I was like, why am I only finding 10 of them? And I freaked out, and then I went to their website, and it was like, here, all of the other ones, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That is weird.
It was strange.
Yeah.
But I guess if you have, like, they have over 700 episodes, so I guess that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but also the Joe Rogan Experience has 2,000 plus.
Right.
That's psychotic.
And the Daily has almost 2,000, you know? So I don't know why they would do that. That's weird.
I do know that there is
Their own
some
reason, so.
there is something with RSS feeds where you can only have like 350 or like it's less than 400, and then you have to you kind of have to like archive them and create a different feed. But usually what they'll do is, and I don't know how to do it, because we're nowhere near that with our catalog. But then there's a way to make it so people can still search for the older archives. But to me, I think it's a trend to try and, instead of
Just to take them away from the platform and go to their
right. Right.
Get foot traffic through their website.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Interesting. So these are the top 5 based on all 3 of these articles.
Based on, yeah. And like I was looking at, like, those are the 5 that seem to be most consistently in the top 5. But it's also like it literally changes every single week.
But then also,
But those ones that are on that little list also break into the top 5 a lot.
okay,
Because it's changing every single week.
I don't know why I needed that to.
Because sometimes, like, Dateline will do, like, a really big case, and then, like, their listeners jump. Or, like, Call Her Daddy will have a guest that people want to listen to, so her listeners jump. Like, people that aren't listening every week, but are then going, oh, I want to listen to that one because so-and-so is on it. Like, crap like that.
Sure. Okay. The number 5 and number 4 spots change around as certain episodes gain more traction than others. Call Her Daddy often breaks into the top 5 as well as Dateline NBC, Stuff You Should Know, and The Ben Shapiro Show.
Top-ranked podcasts use a variety of formats. 38% typically feature deep reporting or explain a topic, while roughly a quarter, around 23%, are interview shows and 16% are based around commentary.
True crime podcasts tend to feature deep reporting, while other topics use a more diverse set of formats. The vast majority of top true crime podcasts, 95%, use deep reporting.
Most top-ranked podcasts have a single host. Many top podcasts, 50%, feature a single host, while roughly 4 in 10, or 37%, have multiple hosts.
Top-ranked podcasts tend to be less than an hour long. For 6 and 10 top podcasts, the average episode length in 2022 was less than 50 minutes.
Many top-ranked podcasts turn to their audiences for financial support. Around half of top podcasts, 47%, ask for audience support through options such as subscriptions, donations, or merchandise for sale. The Center's recent survey of U.S. podcast listeners found that 13% have paid for a podcast subscription and 12% have bought merchandise.
I used to love Pew Researching. Like, just, like, looking at the researching. Research.
Yeah, me too.
Finding that they have. And now I feel like I need to just look on their website and look at all the research articles they have.
My wife is constantly looking at them, seeing about trends in libraries and stuff.
That's kind of why I put that in there, because I was looking at the graphs and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, true crime is 24% of top-ranked podcasts. That's crazy.
People love their true crime.
I guess. And I thought it was just you two.
No.
Because you two are always like true crime.
We're just
like, oh, wow.
one of many. Two of many.
Two of many.
Two of
So
many.
I just want to say for myself and Sarah that we are both very thankful for Colleen for taking the time. To
Yeah,
do the
we
research
really
on
are.
this. It was a
Just
big
like a
surprise, and we were like so happy. Yay!
She's
You asked me to
amazing.
make a chart, I'll make a chart. I love a chart.
So in case you're new to the podcast, we create a very unscientific ranking system for us to sound like we're just not picking our favorite podcasts, but we also kind of do that also. But at the very least, you know, we do try to remove as much bias from it as possible.
Yes, our ranking system does. It's so we have finally crafted it to our liking, and the range that we use. So we rank each of the podcasts based on whether it's still recording, the length of the episodes, its release schedule, and the production quality. And for each of those 4 categories, we rate the podcast 1 through 5. And then we all combine our scores and do
Math
the
it out.
math it. And yeah.
Then we spend half the episode
The episode
math.
doing
calculating.
Math. Yep.
So with that, let's get on to our podcast picks for this episode. All right, so the first podcast we're going to rank is the Joe Rogan Experience. To give you a little highlights about the podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience is very popular. It's hosted by Joe Rogan, who actually, I don't know why I didn't realize this, but it never clicked with me. You know, he's a comedian. He's been a UFC commentator, He was the host of. I totally forgot he was the host of Fear Factor.
I always forget that too. Yeah,
so-
I always forget that.
You know, but the show features a wide range of guests, including scientists, politicians, athletes, and celebrities. The podcast covers a variety of topics such as science, technology, politics, and culture. The show is known for its long-form, very long-form conversations, often lasting several hours. So people are going to know how I rank that. But with that said, Joe is he's a very skilled interviewer and is able to draw out interesting insights and perspectives from his guests. The show has, like I said, a very large and dedicated fan base, and is often cited as one of the most influential podcasts in the world. And overall, it does produce some thought-provoking and entertaining episodes that many people love, and it's well worth checking out. All right, let me flip windows, load. Okay, so ranking the Joe Rogan Experience. Is it still recording? Yes, it is. So I gave it a 5.
Same.
Me too.
The length of the episodes, I gave it a 1, because if it's over 30 minutes, it's starting to go downhill. And 3 hours, I can't even barely get through that in a week, let alone a day.
I gave it a 2 because there's some of them are shorter, but 3 hours, I don't want to sit there for 3 hours.
I know. That's crazy.
I also gave it a 2. Yeah, I first had a 2, and then I put down 1, and then I was like, no, I'll leave it at 2.
For release?
For length of episodes.
Yes,
That's a lot.
it is.
It's too much.
And then on top of that, the release schedule, I gave it a 2 because it's every day.
I also gave it
I
a 2.
also gave it a 2. I was
Yeah.
like, slow down, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, I was thinking, that's like 15 hours just in one podcast.
What is it? What else does he do?
I think now he just
does, yeah,
podcasts.
because he's got that huge contract where it's like
guess
$100 million
paid
from Spotify. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Well, he caused I forget which musician it was, but they were like, it's me or Joe Rogan, and Spotify was like, we're not losing that Joe Rogan money.
Oh, yeah, there was,
And he made his
from
music get pulled.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash was one of those.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took him out of,
Woof.
got rid of his songs from Spotify.
He said, take him down, boys.
So we did two all across, right?
Yes.
All right. Production quality, I did give it a 5 because it is, a couple of things. I mean, first of all, it sounds good and everything. And he's got a video, so you can see that, it's a slick operation that he's got going.
I gave it a 4. Only because I don't really like the introduction.
I also gave it a 4. I was just overwhelmed all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like, after the 1 and the 2, I
Had to give it something else.
yeah. Because it is so popular. You have to figure it's like the most popular podcast that's out right now. And I had to give it at least 1.5 even, just so I wasn't too biased.
I gave it a 5 for still recording.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did too.
Yeah.
I gave it 2 5s.
Just not even his private Instagram, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast Instagram has 2.2 million followers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a popular guy.
Wow. Very wow.
So those are our Joe Rogan rankings.
Yes.
All right. Moving on. Our next show was Crime Junkie. Crime Junkie is a popular true crime podcast hosted by Ashley Flowers. The show covers a wide range of true crime cases, from well-known cases to those that are lesser known. The hosts, Ashley and Britt, are engaging and have a great rapport with each other, making for an enjoyable listening experience. Ashley definitely kind of tells the story to Britt, who I feel like does a little more of a reaction. The podcast is well researched, and the hosts present the facts of the cases in a clear and concise manner. The show often includes interviews with family members and experts, adding depth and insight to the cases. The podcast has a large and dedicated fan base, and the hosts are very active on social media, engaging with their listeners. There has been some critics accusing the podcast of plagiarism, saying the hosts have been known to use material from other sources without proper attribution.
Wow.
That could definitely be a learning curve thing. I don't know, though. Overall, Crime Junkie is a well-produced and engaging podcast that true crime fans will enjoy, but listeners should be aware of the plagiarism accusations. I agree with all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know what? It's a podcast. It's not an academic paper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're not handing it into for a grade. So
I feel like that's kind of the point of a podcast is you want someone to eat up all the resources and spit it back to you.
Yeah.
Not,
I think it's just people want their credit where.
Which I understand, especially because they are doing a lot of newspaper reports and stuff. But still.
There was a whole movement, too, where I remember you came in the other day and you were like, I feel like Britt doesn't add anything. And people online were like, why is Britt on the show? She doesn't do anything. I was like, oh, my goodness.
I mean, she really is kind of, just there. There are once in a while an episode, there is once in a while an episode where she is the one telling a story. Okay. Or telling, blah, blah, but... or taking the reins, but really she's kind of just there as the audience, the live audience.
I like a rapport. I think
I like it too.
Rapport.
I like that Ashley has someone to
bounce off
of. Yeah.
It was one of my personal favorites of the 5. So.
Yeah.
I used to listen to that one a lot. I don't know.
I haven't listened to them as much as I used to. Yeah.
It's not like one where I'm like, oh my god, there's a new episode, I have to go listen, but I do listen to it.
Right.
For still recording, I gave it a 5 because it's still recording.
I also gave it a 5.
5.
For length of episodes, I gave it a 4 just because sometimes they're a little shorter. And I think with true crime especially, it should be as fleshed out as you can make it. So I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 5 because I don't mind. I don't mind that they're shorter. I don't know. I like Ashley's storytelling.
She's an author now. She wrote a book.
Yeah. I just like the way she presents the cases.
Yeah.
Fair.
I gave it a 5 because of the shorter episodes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, good. I can get through this one quicker on it. But even so, even the longer ones are not too long for me.
Mm-hmm.
For the release schedule, I gave it a 5 because it is weekly.
I also gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5 because, Colleen said last month with one of the episodes, an hour is my jam. Or not an hour. I should take that back. Once a week is my jam.
And for production quality, I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5.
Gave it a 5.
Wow.
It was all 5s for me.
Me too.
My only thing was the length. Wow.
Star, 5-pointed star.
Your singing's going to be in that podcast.
So the next podcast on our list, The Daily, is a news podcast from the New York Times. It's been around for over 5 years and is a leader in the format. The show publishes at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, making it perfect for your morning commute. The hosts are Michael Barbaro and Sabrina Tavernis. The show features a diverse range of journalists who analyze stories of the day, and it is known for its quality journalism and dramatic storytelling. It recently received recognition for its coverage of the Maui fires, and despite being old school, The Daily is still one of the best news podcasts out there. So for still recording, I gave it a 5, because it is, in fact, still recording.
Same.
I gave it a 5.
Sweet. For length of episodes, so each episode is about 20 minutes. Some of them are a little bit longer. I think some of them run about 35 minutes, something like that. I gave it a 5 because I like the shorter episodes and I like the content of the episodes because they give us news and I don't watch the news.
I gave it a 4 for length just because I like what I like.
I gave it a 5. Yeah, I gave it a 5 because short is good.
Mm-hmm. For release schedule, they release 5 times a week, so every day, Monday through Friday. I gave it a 5 because, so now, okay, I like that they are only 20-minute episodes and they're daily. And because they're shorter, or basically shorter, and they're like news ones, I feel like that is worthy of a 5. just in my opinion. Like, I don't mind so much that it comes out every day because it's news. And, like, that's just how the news be. So I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 3.
I also gave it a 3.
You guys.
Well, it's just that, yes, it's short, but at the same time, if you miss a couple of days, they start to pile up, and then I get
That's
anxious.
true, but I
so-
also don't have that thing where I need to listen to every single, and it also depends on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
with one that's a news podcast, you're going to you might hear this news somewhere else or whatever. So, like, you don't really need to listen to every single episode, and you're not going to go backlog it, too. But with some other podcasts, you might want to do that, and it might be hard to, like, stay up to date. But, like, this one's not, you don't have to sweat it so much.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say it is this, and the next one is one of those that I don't feel so guilty about if I skip the episode.
Right. Yeah.
So I actually thought about giving it a 4 for the release schedule because of that. Because, you know, if I started to get backlogged or whatever, I was like, oh, you know, I can just skip a few. But at the end, I didn't. I still dropped it down to a 3.
Yeah.
Same. If it was like 10 minutes, I would have been like, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. The final item on our list is production quality. I gave that a 5.
Same.
I gave it a 4, but
Okay.
Gasp.
it's not because...
Wow. You gave the Joe Rogan Experience a 5, but you gave the Daily from the New York Times
That sounds really
a
bad.
4.
But you know what? And I actually thought about that. But oddly enough, and it's only because I dropped it down a point, only because I'm not a big fan of a lot of the topics that they discussed.
Okay.
And
The news.
What about the Joe Rogan podcast?
there was
sorry, we
actually
can take that
when I
out.
was going through the
Getting
back
a little too much.
when I was going through the back catalog, there was like more subjects that I was like, "Ooh, I'd listen to that. Ooh,
Right.
I'd listen to that." Even though there was no way I was going to listen to the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas when I was doing the daily, I actually had a hard time finding one that I wanted to listen to an episode.
Yeah, I kind of just like
So-
did stuff that was like recent.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was listening to it, I put it on and I completely zoned out. I did that thing where like you legitimately like shut your ears off, and then I had to
me
tune
too,
back in and go,
honestly,
"Whoa!"
I did the same thing.
So
I probably listened the most to, well, besides Crime Junkie and Morbid, This American Life, just like length of episode wise, because I kind of found it interesting.
yeah.
Speaking of This American Life,
This American Life.
that's the next podcast
Yes.
that we chose to talk about from the list of the most streamed podcasts of 2023. That's such a long sentence.
Take it away, Dave.
And This American Life. It's a popular podcast. It's been around for a long time. 1995. It's as old as my oldest son. So it's old. The show is how...
Older than Colleen.
It's older than me. I was like, I'm not gonna even.
but I will.
I was right after that. 96.
Right after that.
The show is hosted by Ira Glass and features stories about everyday people and their experiences. Each episode has a theme, and the stories are woven together to create a cohesive narrative. The show is known for its high-quality production and storytelling, which often includes music and sound effects. The stories are often emotional and thought-provoking, and they cover a wide range of topics from politics to personal relationships. It has won numerous awards, including a Peabody and Pulitzer Awards. This American Life has a huge dedicated fan base, and new episodes are released every week. The show is a great way to learn about different perspectives and experiences, and it's perfect for anyone who enjoys storytelling and journalism. So, for Is It Still Recording? It is, so I gave it a 5.
Same.
Me too.
Length of episodes, I gave it a 5.
Same.
Me too.
Yeah, it was like,
Perfect 1 hour.
yes. And it was very consistent. Release schedule, I gave it a 5 because it's once a week.
Same.
Also gave it a 5.
And production quality was top notch, so I gave it a 5.
Same.
Same.
This is my only My only all fiver.
Oh, wow. I thought it was,
Well researched.
yeah, I thought it was really neat how they take, I'm trying to remember the one, which I didn't even think I was going to enjoy. This episode was about,
There's some crazy topics.
yeah, the topic was getting away with things.
Oh.
And he first interviewed a
should listen to
person
that.
about flying. He interviewed a gentleman who's from Canada who's over 6 foot tall, and he had bought one of those things, those little gap things that you put in the airplane seat in front of you so the person can't recline all the way back.
That's
I
messed up.
love that.
Yeah.
No, I need that because I hate
But-
Oh, that's messed up. And you,
But yes,
love that.
but there's
I never
been
recline.
there's been like
I
fights.
never recline because I don't
I
want to
know,
mess
but
with
there's
people
been
behind me.
fights and people have gotten in trouble for using those.
Oh,
So, and he felt really guilty because he's Canadian, and that's the
okay,
stereotypical
but also
Canadian.
if you're that tall, like that sucks. It sucks to sit on an airplane.
Right. So he talked about how he felt miserable the whole time while still enjoying the fact that he wasn't being crushed. And then it went
That's so interesting.
right, but then the next story was about of this family, about this man who, during growing up, he lived in Mexico, and they were like financially in a really bad place. His father was a truck driver, and then they had to, like, in order to make ends meet, they had to do this one thing where they smuggled a truckload of marijuana into the United States.
wow.
And he talked about, how they got away with it, but he talked about the feelings and everything, about knowing that, he was a young child at the time, but he was driving with his mother, who was in a car up ahead, be a lookout, to make sure like there was nobody at the customs border and everything, and how they did that, and the guilt he felt and everything. And it was interesting, like two completely different stories, but how
That's
they
so
had,
Canadian to be like, the guilt is eating me alive.
but how they had a lot of similarities and everything. I thought it was really neat.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a very you're right. There's like a lot of broad topics, but that makes sense because this American life, that's big old melting pot.
Yes.
A lot of different walks of life in this American life, eh?
Yeah. But at the same
It's
time,
American
it's very
Canadian.
similar.
All right. Are we ready
Yeah.
for the last one?
I'm
Yep.
ready. I'm ready. Okay.
We're going to get copyrighted. Our last podcast from the top 5 is Morbid, a true crime podcast. Morbid is a popular podcast that focuses on true crime stories. The show is hosted by 2 women, Ash and Elena, who have a passion for true crime and a great sense of humor. Each episode covers a different true crime case, ranging from well-known cases to some that are lesser known. The hosts provide in-depth research and analysis on each case, including details about the crime, the investigation, and the trial. The show is known for its engaging and conversational style, which makes it feel like you're listening to 2 friends talk about true crime. They're family members, so they're very close. The hosts also inject humor into their discussions, which can be a refreshing break from the heavier subject matter. Morbid is perfect for true crime fans who want to learn more about different cases and hear engaging discussions about true crime, and the show has a large and dedicated fan base, and new episodes are released every week.
Cool.
I love this one.
It's great, right?
I was
That was
listening to
great.
it this morning, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to it this morning. Well, I started it last night, and I finished the
Alina
episode this
just
morning.
published a book.
Yeah.
I saw that on the website.
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
interesting that the 2 true crime ones we covered, one of
Yeah.
the hosts has recently
Yeah, that's
published
funny.
a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Butcher and the Wren.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I can't remember her last name.
Elena's last name?
Yeah.
Please hold. Please hold.
That's funny. You guys singing at the same time. That's lovely.
I'm doing elevator music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, Urquhart. Her last name is spelled weird. Urquhart. Urquhart?
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to be able to pronounce it, so I was like, I'm not even going to look it up. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try.
That's funny. I love
Ashley Flowers' book is All Good People Here. And I've
Right.
actually heard that one's super good. I haven't.
Oh, yeah?
No, I don't know anyone who's read The Butcher and the Run yet, but I've heard good things about
I've
the other
heard
one.
really good things about The Butcher and the Wren. I don't know anybody personally, but I've heard good things.
Cool. So we'll have to read both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our book review podcast. For still recording, I gave it a 5 because it is still recording.
I also gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5.
Length of episodes, it's like an hour to an hour and a half, which is my sweet spot, so I also gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5, even though an hour and a half is a little long for me. It was so entertaining that it didn't feel like an hour and a half, so
They're
I
fun
did
to
not
listen
mind.
to. They're a lot of fun.
Release schedule is weekly, so I also gave it a 5.
Me too.
Me too.
I think they throw in some like listener stories and stuff
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
There was some, and those are only like 30 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
those are shorties.
I love listener episodes.
They also, in the beginning, I don't think they've done this for a long time, but they did also like mini Morbids, which were only like a half hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that.
Okay. I'm going to do more copyright stealing. And then production quality, I gave it a 4 just because I was being nitpicky.
I gave it a 4, and I can't remember why, because I didn't write it down.
I gave it a 5 just because I love them.
Some of the earlier ones, the quality is rough.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
they've
that's
re-recorded a lot, but that's every
early.
podcast.
And they end. They did say when they
down.
started and they did say when they started re-recording, they were like, we were big old knuckleheads when we first started, and we sounded terrible. So maybe just listen to the re-recorded ones, please, because it wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't
I was just
remember
being super
why.
nitpicky.
I don't know why. I can't remember why. I'm trying to debate whether I should change my score or not.
I know, should I change mine to a 5? Am I just being a jerk?
Pressure.
The only problem is then we're going to have like 3 perfect ones.
Uh-uh.
Oh, no, 2 perfect ones.
Well,
I'm going
see.
to stick with my 4. I'm going to stand by my 4, because if I wrote it, I meant it.
I'm going to change
you
mine
go.
to a 5 because
Gasp.
this was one of my favorites.
This is also...
And I'm going to be biased.
I might have to pack up during the math and run away, but
oh yeah,
I think you
it's
guys can
303.
do the math without me
I think we
if
can.
it comes
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
In 7 minutes, I'm going to make my break.
Okay.
Okay, let's make this quick, guys.
Yes.
Okay. Should I get my calculator out?
Yeah, should we just add up our own score for each one and then just add those?
I feel
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
easiest.
Yes. So, yeah. 5, 10.
So my score for Mr. Rogan was 13.
Mine was a 13.
Mine was
too.
also 13.
13 times 3
39.
is 39.
Bam!
Wow.
Bam!
Crime Junkie, I think we all gave it perfect scores.
I have a
No.
20 for Crime Junkie.
20.
I have a 19.
Oh,
59.
59.
Wow, I'm math today. My math is math today.
Sirens.
19.6. Wait. It was 59 divided by 3. Yeah, 19.6.
What?
Hold on.
No. you
Oh,
just
we're
add them, buddy.
adding. What the hell is wrong with me? 59.
Wait.
That's awful. That noise is awful.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to get rid of it by that moment of silence.
I also did 20 for the daily.
I had a 17.
5, 10, 15, 17.
So
54.
54. This American Life, I had a 20.
I had 20.
20.
So that one's 60.
60.
And Morbid, I had 19.
I had a 20.
20.
59.
Okay, so This American Life was the winner.
Big winner.
And then we had a tie for second place with Crime Junkie and Morbid. And then we have the Daily in third place and the Joe Rogan Experience in fourth
fourth.
place.
Wow.
Bam, bam.
Bam. Thank you guys all for listening to this week's. Thank you all for listening to this month's episode. And
We'll see you
Yeah,
after
we'll
our
see
Yeah,
you.
we'll
hiatus.
see if we're already in vacation mode, so there's no library news this month. But we'll have tons when we come back in January, so we'll see you then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
we don't have the outro. Where's the outro blurb?
Thank you for listening to the Wizards of Pod podcast, a podcast of librarians talking about
Podcasts.
Music is done by Ben Sound. So please go to www.bensound.com for more info on our music. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
I can always re-record that if I need to.
Come on.